G'day Bomber fans, we've got some trade news, more trade news, and guys, this is why you don't want to be playing finals footy, because if we're playing finals this year, I'm getting no views. I've got nothing to make videos about. I'm sitting at home twiddling my thumbs. But here we are today. There's almost too much to talk about. I'd like the journos to space out their news a bit so us content creators have more time to plan this stuff out. Pretty selfish, if you ask me. I'm looking at you, Jay Clark. But no, today's news. We for starters have reports that Sam Draper is leaving the club. We have 2 more delistings, and we have Zach Merrett, our captain, being chased by Victorian rivals again. So let's chat about this. Alrighty. So Sam Draper, yesterday afternoon we were all greeted to a bunch of posts online simply saying Draper is gone. We all saw the headlines because Jay Clark yesterday reported that the ruckman had decided he would be leaving Essendon and exercising his free agency rights to join either Brisbane, who are the front runners, or the Adelaide Crows. Maybe an hour or two later, the Essendon Football Club responded. Daniel McPherson, the general manager of the Bombers, said that Draper did indeed have his exit meeting on Monday. That was correct, as Clark reported. But Draper had not told the club he was leaving. In fact, he'd actually told the club he was still weighing up his decision. So, this is where we got to decide who we put our trust into. I'm going to take that last bit of information as absolute fact. I am convinced that Draper has not told the club his decision yet. I don't think, maybe he has made up his decision, but I don't think he's told the club yet, because there would be absolutely no reason for the Bombers to lie about this at all. Like, Essendon, they gain nothing from lying. They gain nothing from prolonging this news. There is no reason not to tell fans that Draper has informed them of the decision. And if that news is contradicting what Draper had said in the exit interview, we would know by now. His management would have refuted that. So there is the first bit of, I'm going to say concrete news. There's the first bit of almost fact, I think. Draper has not told the club what he is doing yet. I believe he has even said he is still weighing up his options to the club. But that doesn't necessarily mean he is, because this is now it comes down to the he said, she said game. This is where we have to decide how much trust we put into players and journalists and whatnot, because Sam Draper, he has almost definitely told the club he is weighing up his options, but Jay Clark has gotten this news from somewhere. Journalists, they may be hacky in the AFL landscape, but they don't just make news up out of nowhere. They don't pull stories out of thin air. He has gotten information from someone that Draper is set to leave the club. Does this mean it's good information? Maybe not, but he's still gotten it from somewhere. So what has happened here is either Jay Clark is getting some stinky information and is wrong, and Draper is still undecided, or Draper has told the club he is still thinking, but is telling others he is gone. And this is where, I don't know, maybe I'm being a bit naive here. I don't think Draper would be lying straight to the club's face like that. And there's a reason this has gone on for so long, right? Because he genuinely does love the club, and he has been torn about this decision all year. He's getting more money, more chance of success, more for his body at Brisbane or Adelaide, yet he is still publicly yet to make a decision, whereas, West Coast captain Oscar Allen already has. I personally think really highly of Draper as a person, and if he is lying to the club, prolonging the inevitable and forcing us fans and his teammates into this uncertainty when he's already made his decision, I'd lose a lot of respect for him. I don't think he's the type of person to do that. I don't think that's the case. I think maybe he's told someone, maybe he's even told someone he's leaning towards going, and maybe that someone has told Jay Clark that information, and maybe Jay Clark has heard that information and got a bit hungry for a news story, and it's put him into a premature bit of breaking news post. I don't think Draper has fully made his decision yet. Now, does this mean he is staying? Honestly, probably not. Like, it is unbelievably rare for free agents to go past their exit meetings without having signed a contract and end up staying. The longer this has gone on throughout the year, the more likely it has been that he is walking out the door to join Brisbane or Adelaide. But there's a bit to this still. Draper is concerned about his body, but Essendon are trying to poach Brisbane's head of high performance. I don't think it is intelligent for Draper to make a decision until there's, confirmation there. Same with Ridley. I think there's still a bit for Draper to work out. I don't think he's 100% gone yet. I think it looks more likely he goes rather than stays. My guess is that he goes, but I think the news here, the concrete news, is that Jay Clark went early on a post. The Bombers refuted it, but it doesn't mean he's staying. If anything, the exit meeting without confirmation probably suggests he is more likely to leave still. I'm going to wait until proper confirmation to say that, though, unlike Jay Clark. Let's get on to some other news. We have some delistings. So, obviously, Dylan Shields not going to be with the club in 2026. That's already been finalised. There are 2 more additional delistings on top of that. Small forwards Jai Menzie and Alwyn Davey Jr. have both been told they will not be offered new contracts in 2026. Pretty predictable. We've said for weeks that these two would be amongst the first batch of delistings. Davey, I mean, it's always sad to say goodbye to a father-son, but this was bound to happen. He's one of 3 players this year at the club not to feature in an AFL game. He was moved to defence, but was never really able to get close to breaking into that AFL team. His career ends after just 20 games in 3 seasons, while Jai Menzie, his career is a funny one, because at his best, he was a genuinely game-breaking player. He showed that a bit late in the year. He kicked 3 goals against the Suns, kicked 4 goals against Melbourne in Gather Round. He played some really good footy, not only throughout his short career after being picked up in the mid-season draft, but he played good footy this year too. He played 47 games, kicked 36 goals. This year he played 10 games, kicked 9 goals. This is a tougher one because, unfortunately we just needed to reshape that forward line. And although at his best Menzie is a genuinely decent football player, it wasn't enough to keep his spot in a squad that we are upgrading the forward line in as soon as this year's draft. So we thank both Jai Lionel Menzie, a player that I really admired throughout his short career, and Alwyn Davey Jr., a father-son who broke onto the scene in his first game. Hopefully they can find an opportunity elsewhere. But yeah, that kicks off the delistings. There will be plenty more to come in the next few weeks. Okay, and before we go, we have some more news, and this, guys, is so Jay Clark, who is quickly becoming a pretty unpopular man amongst Essendon fans. He has reported that clubs are beginning to reignite their interest in Essendon captain Zach Merrett. It was the same post on the Herald Sun, I believe, updated later in night, the same one with the Sam Draper news. So the Herald Sun reports that Essendon officials had met with Merrett a couple of weeks ago amidst interest from rival clubs. Those officials laid out a detailed plan about the club's future and vision to Zach Merrett and other leaders, pretty much showing Zach that the club is going in the right direction. And the report says that St Kilda, Hawthorn and Collingwood have all been linked to Merrett. There was more on Footy Classified. I don't want to talk about that because that was honestly, it hurt my brain, but there was lots of talk from Sam McClure, Damien Barrett, even Matthew Lloyd chimed in as well. This has been talked about a lot this year, and the way I see it, and this may be biased, but it does seem like the media is really pushing this one. So last year you had St Kilda offer Merrett a monster deal, a huge pay increase, which he brushed off. He said that he thought about it, and it was life-changing money, so, good that he thought about it, and it's much better money than what the Bombers had offered, but he declined that. There was then a report earlier in the year that clubs are keen on him, maybe he was gettable, and Merrett went on live TV 49 days ago to say he was determined to bring the Bombers success as their captain. He said he was all in on the future. Now, a few months later, here we are again. It's the same thing. You might see the club meeting with Merrett as desperation to keep him. I actually think those meetings take place fairly regularly at the club. You had Scott, Merrett and McGrath travelling to America last year on a leadership experience lesson. I believe there's been meetings previously in the year which haven't really been talked about in the media until now. I guess they want to push that narrative. I personally feel a bit sorry for Merrett. The vibe I get is that he is committed to the club, and he has come out and said as much a few times in the last few years that he is committed. Yes, where there is smoke, there is fire, but the only smoke I've really properly seen is just other clubs being keen on him, which of course they are. He's one of the best midfielders in the competition. So until I see anything that suggests Merrett may want to leave, because that isn't really mentioned in the report, all that's mentioned is that clubs are really keen on him. So yeah, I'm not going to think too much of this. I think Merrett is going to remain with the club. He's going to remain captain of the club. There have been no trade requests yet. All the journos really have to go off is the meeting a few weeks ago. They even said that this wasn't discussed at his exit meeting, which, if he was really unhappy with things, you'd think he would bring it up. Look, I'm sure it's just getting overblown. I hope I'm proven wrong, but when you have guys like Sam McClure coming out and telling the club he is staying after Merrett himself said so a few months ago, I don't know. It's funny that the media are complaining about these stories always popping up and continuing to release them with little to no information really required to do so. What's changed in the last few months for Merrett specifically? I get that things are looking bad for Essendon, but even those stories with Draper and Ridley are potentially overblown too. It's funny because it's just a bit upsetting and demoralising for the club, because this news it's obviously going to be heard by players. You add that to the Draper news, to the Ridley news, we don't know what's going to come of this yet. All three of those guys, there's a world where they might stay with the club, but it looks like an absolute mess right now because of all this. So I don't know, this might not even be news. I don't think we really need to pay too much attention to Merrett right now. I think, if someone with more credibility comes out, if Cal Toomey comes out and talks about this, I'll pay attention mention. But Jay Clark, Damien Barrett, Sam McClure, that is the holy trinity of untrustworthy journalism. I'm going to wait until this one actually grows some legs before I overreact about it like they were on Footy Classified last night. Some of the stuff they were saying about a news story that had barely got anything to it was gutter journalism, and you can't be mad because they're just doing it to get clicks, and they're doing very well to get clicks. But seriously, I wouldn't listen to this one as much. Wait until something or someone with more credibility comes out and talks about it, because right now you've got some pretty poor journos just yapping on. So yeah, to summarise the last day, Sam Draper, according to the club, has not yet made his decision, although it is probably leaning towards him going, and there will likely be a decision soon. But as of yet, the club have not been told anything. Zach Merrett will most likely be playing with Essendon next year. I'm not going to be listening to anything Barrett or McClure have to say. Yes, clubs might be keen on him, but I don't think he'll be leaving. And Essendon continue to delist players from their list. But yeah, eventful week. And it's Monday. There is a lot to... Oh, sorry, it's Tuesday now. But there's a lot to come out. Lots more videos, I'm sure, to be posted. Cheers for watching, everybody. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and go Bombers.